Now is your time to
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I am your moderator, B. Jones, and today we are coming to you live, or I am coming to you live from sunny South Florida. I am back, and it feels amazing. I'm so glad to be back down here, and it's been a minute. So before we get into all of that, though, I got to introduce my guys. First up, our beloved intern, Jay Dace. What's happening, bro?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Look, never mind what haters say. Know until it fade away. You know what I mean? In my T.I. voice. You know, since I am T.I., you know what I mean, for the show, I thought I'd go ahead and drop some. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I like it. Mike D, we cover your way, man. What's happening, baby?
Rude dog. Make sure you tell the bros I love him and miss him.
Easy. Yeah, I would definitely get that message as soon as he gets up. Mr. Logistics, BJ, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, you guys? Good morning. I got one for you today.
Oh, he's prepared today. Let's get it, baby.
But I was digging, but I had to go back in light of everything that's been going on. So I'm gonna come with that next week. But I had to pull out a classic. So I'm not gonna start with the first verse, so I had to think a little bit, because the first verse give it away. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somehow will soon make a change. We are all part of God's great big family, and the truth, love is all we need.
Love is all we need. That's very fitting for the times, especially with the craziness that was going on over the last couple of days, but we'll get into that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sex in the City, Faison.
Hey, man, we're not going to say what that was?
Yeah, I was curious.
I was going to wait till you know what you're going to do.
Hey, Vaughn.
I was
curious.
Who was that?
Nobody got a guess?
Hold on.
I know Kay got it.
Foster's Family?
No, man. It's not a TV show.
No, that's an actual song.
You broke the rules. I'm kidding. You broke the rules.
First line of the song, there comes a time when we heed a certain call.
We are the world.
There you go, brother.
We are the world.
Oh, that's nice.
Shout out.
So what you got for that, Faison?
Well, first of all, hello everyone. Good morning. Wow. So I'm on cloud 9 today, so I'm gonna do something that's a little bit off the wall. Come and play. Everything's a-okay. Friendly neighbors there. That's where we meet. It's a magic carpet ride. Every door open wide. It's happy people like you. Happy people like, what a beautiful day. Sunny day, sweeping the clouds away. On my way to where the air is sweet. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
Shout out, yo. All right, real quick before you say anything, it just so happened that I knew this one. I didn't know all the other ones.
Bro,
didn't know all the other ones. I didn't know Sanford and Son. You know what I mean? But I knew,
Like, if you didn't know Sesame Street, we may have to revoke some privilege.
Yeah.
I saw K face like, yeah, he young.
Hey, you got that one. DJ Barry B. Fresh, what's happening, my brother?
Nothing much, just getting back from New Orleans, so my song is gonna be do it baby, shake it. Do it baby, shake it. Listen to that New Orleans bounce music. It was great.
Yeah.
Great food. I can't complain at all. I'm excited about today's podcast. Let's get it in.
That's exactly how I feel about being in Miami, because I got to listen to a lot of the Juke music down here yesterday, man. So it was great being around the culture. But last but not least, Coach K, what you got going on, man?
What's good, man? Back home. Still haven't had a chance to put my office together, so you still get the same background, but I'm working on it. About to order some stuff for the walls.
Yeah.
So I can, be like Faison and
I know, man.
have some stuff in the background.
Yeah, you got the feng shui going.
I'm gonna make green and pop in anything.
We just need to get a green screen, man. I'm fortunate
Right.
to be at, my 88 Pro Fights crib right now. He's got the pool in the background. He got the fresh Aki trees.
Yeah,
in the
we see the we see the palm trees reflecting off of the
Yeah.
Exactly. See, the goal was to get the pool and everything in the background, but the sun was coming in, so I was gonna look like darkness. So I had to let that happen.
Nice.
Darkness.
But easy,
Nice.
man. Let's get into the show.
Anybody know where I get a Public Enemy poster?
Straight up.
Oh, I'm sure it's online.
Amazon.
Definitely.
Easy. Easy. But yeah, like I said, man, down here in South Florida, man. So, had the family trip. We down here on vacation. I did drop off Kellen with his mom a few days ago, man. She was super excited to see him. That whole moment was, it was really touching, man, because he jumped out the car, ran up to her. You got the slow move, that slow motion music playing in the background. And
Chariots of Fire.
Chariots of Fire.
Dun, 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 dun.
But, yeah, man. But it's crazy though. I wanted to get you guys' opinion on this, especially like Mike and DJ, because y'all got older kids. And Fresh, you always traveling with your daughter. But are we there yet? So when we get on the road, so we stop in St. Pete to see my family and everything. And we got to drive from St. Pete to Miami. And he knows we going down to Miami. He knows we going to see mommy and everything. And so we like, yeah, let's go. Soon as we get on the highway, he's like, are we there yet? And I'm like, no. We gotta, it's a long drive. Here, sit back, enjoy your iPad and everything. 5 minutes later, as we're going over the Skyway Bridge. Oh, we going over the bridge. So are we there yet? And literally this trend continued for like the next 45 minutes until I found something to occupy his time on the iPad, Roblox or whatever. And it's like, yo, how do you train them out of that? Like, what do you do? Because I can't, it's so annoying and frustrating. Like,
Preparation is key, especially if you're going on a long trip. You have to make sure you have everything prepared, understood, and thought of. You can't, if kids are going to be in the car more than an hour, you have to make sure you have some form of real entertainment ready to go that is going to take some time and multiple layers of it. And and snacks and things ready. And you have to turn on I'm shutting that out. They're still going to try you. They still going to, because they just want to get some type of reaction because they're crazy, like they locked in the cell or something. You have to be mindful and think ahead as far as make sure you have movies long, and it's almost better to have things that are just like, I got 4 hours of clips just out there,
Yeah, man, and it's crazy because I'm thinking when he was a little bit younger, as soon as you hit the car is like anesthetic, put you to sleep. As soon as you get in the car, he used to just knock out. Now it's like, no, I'm up and wired, and like you said, he's just going constantly.
The other thing though is I try to travel at night when I know they're gonna knock out too. I prefer to make sure that it's at a time when they are not going to be awake and annoying, and I know I can zone out and just hit
the road.
That's literally what I would do until they got to be maybe about 11, 10, even sometimes now that they're older. Like if it's an 8-hour drive, I'm leaving at 10 o'clock at night. I get there at 6 in the morning and everybody's asleep. So yeah, you leave during the day, you're gonna add an extra hour, 2 hours on it.
Yeah.
Just
no matter what, bathroom breaks that won't.
Right.
That won't
So we didn't have many of those.
Everybody.
Right.
We didn't have many of those. Yeah,
including me.
Yeah, I've heard about you on the road, man. We driving to the auctions with a couple of the other buyers in the office. How you get in? Hey, slow down. All right, I'm going back to sleep. And be knocked the whole way. So.
Hey, man.
If I can get it in,
They drive.
if I can get some sleep,
Yeah, man.
Listen, I'm trying to help people out. You driving a company car, speeding.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's true.
It's just how you get.
no names.
No,
20 miles over the speed limit. It's supposed to be automatic termination.
Wow, y'all hear that, right? Be mindful. Anyway, hey man, so we had a sort of a serious situation over the last couple of days in Charlottesville. In light of that situation, man, we definitely had to redirect the way we was gonna take this podcast today. But I think it's definitely something worth getting into because as all of this was happening, and I was getting bits and pieces of it. So you had the I don't want to say it's a riot, but you had like the protests and then the anti-protest with these white nationalists in Charlottesville. And what I understand from the story or whatever is that it started on UVA's campus from the night before. So some people were, I think, either protesting the removal of the Robert E. Lee statue.
The statue.
Yep.
Right. So
they were protesting the removal of it. So that's why they stormed the UVA campus and protested that Friday night, and then Saturday day is when it all kind of the anti-protest came, and the Black Lives Matter movement, insinuated with it. So that's when it all blew up.
Right. So it's crazy to me on so many levels. And for one, like, I don't understand.
Hey, bro, let's get the history right. So the city council has actually been voting on removing. They have more than just the Robert E. Lee statue. They have quite a few statues that have to do with Confederate time and whatnot. And they have already voted to remove the Robert E. Lee one. So the protest is really about the right wing or the white nationalists. They feel like their history is being removed, like we're trying to erase history. So that's why they decided to organize and protest.
Right. So, yeah, I don't really know how I feel about that, because I get the historical aspect of it, but everything that it represents, that it's just crazy to me that they feel like this is something that they want to continue to push. And I don't know, man, like from the beginnings of that to them storming the university with torches and everything. And I don't know how many injuries or whatever occurred. Was that Thursday night or Friday night?
I don't know about.
Night.
Okay.
So it was Friday night. Saturday day is when the car, the car incident, the helicopter crash, all that stuff.
So it's a crazy sign of the times. One, and there's just so many different. It's just almost disrespectful to a point, because if you look at everything that happened yesterday, I'm watching videos and seeing pictures and watching these protesters come up. They got riot gear on when they show up to do whatever they got. They got the shields, the helmets, everything. People got batons, weapons, or what have you. So it's amazing to me, and we'll probably get into our 45th president's comments as well later, but it's amazing to me that seeing all of that, knowing all of the protests that we as a people, the black people, have been involved with over, racial injustices across this country, and the level of force that is used in those instances versus what was used in this instance, and we're not showing up with riot gear on
at all, or rifles, because they had rifles too.
Right. And I don't know if Virginia is an open carry state or not, but I don't understand how National Guard, everybody just zooms in to Ferguson, zooms into Texas or whatever. You got the police just beating people down for peacefully protesting, and then you got the only injuries, as far as I know, that were sustained were the protesters, hurting each other or whatnot. And it's just crazy to me how, like...
so actually there were 19 people injured and then one person killed by the car of the...
Yeah, it was a young lady.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was on Saturday. I think all in all, there's like 36 people that was treated by the city for injuries.
Right. So it's like seeing all of that, I'm left with the question is like, what do we do? Like, where do we go from here? Because you look at the president, you look at how he was elected into office, you look at the strong rhetoric that he utilized on the campaign trail. So I am one to believe that a lot of this was incited or has been brewing for a very long time for those specific reasons. And this is probably not this isn't going to be the last time something like this happens, because I feel like these people, these nationalists, feel like they have some sort of power, especially when you get into the fact that the president's statement afterwards was really, really tiptoeing around the situation, and it was really political at a time where he should have, not that it was expected, but should have had a much stronger point to get across.
Yeah, man. What was crazy for me is like looking into it. One of the leaders of the KKK actually said this day represents a turning point in America. Like the people of this country is gonna take back what's ours. It was David. Yeah. And he said we're gonna fulfill the promises of Donald Trump. So like that right there shows what type of president Donald Trump is. You know what I mean? What he's displayed for him to represent. You know what I mean? So it's like, cause stuff like this didn't necessarily happen on the scale that is happening now when other presidents were in office. So it's like, what's different about Trump? And I think that's the question we got to ask ourselves.
One thing with that, no, I don't agree with that. I mean, I agree with what you said, but part of it is that, no, 45 isn't the ideal president. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the statement in detail, because I was pulling it up to make sure I quoted it right, his comment directly to 45, and that's what I said. I want to back up a little bit based on what you just said. His direct comment to him would say, I would recommend you take a good look in the mirror and remember it was white Americans who put you in the presidency, not radical leftists. So when you look at getting in the White House, capturing the White House, winning that election, can I say it was truly aligned with David Duke and all that? I can't say that right now. We don't have anything that says for sure. We can speculate. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is that when he became a candidate, they saw the opportunity to put somebody there that would support them in their ways.
Right.
So that warning to him, I read it as a threat to him. So no matter who you recognize as president or not in the White House right now, that was a direct threat about what's going to happen, what's going to occur, and about the things that this protest is at the turning point. It's going to get ugly, man. Unfortunately, before it gets better.
Oh yeah, agreed. Definitely agree. But I think when you're talking about whether it's a question, we all know what the answer is. It's just the fact that you want to recognize that to be fact. I mean, it's more obvious for them to come out and do it and get support because of who is in office. Right. But those thoughts, those actions, they're just now becoming more prominent because on our side, as African Americans, as people of color, we're screaming for rights to respect. So in their mind, they got to do the same thing. So there's always opposite ends to the spectrum. They're just on that far end.
Right. But what rights are you trying to protect?
Exactly.
And, I mean, I think that's where it comes to our perception versus their perception. Like, we have an idea of what rights are for us in our culture and our life and our circumstance. And as crazy as it is, their mindset is they're doing what's right for them. Like, they want to be able to do those things regardless of what it is, regardless of how crazy and evil it sounds, and their mind is right.
I think what's funny, though, is that ultimately, if you peel away the layers, it's that they're scared that they're going to be treated like us. And that's really the only thing that they're scared of, is that they are scared that they are going to become and treated as they treat us. And it's like, well, why don't we just treat everybody fair instead of thinking about this mentality of who needs to be on top?
So that was the first tweet. The first tweet he sent out. It says, so after decades of white Americans being targeted for discriminated and anti-white hatred, we come together as a people and you attack us.
But you come together as a people for what cause?
Not just what cause, but when you come bearing weapons and acting like you are storming a castle, as
it's
opposed
like
to coming hand in hand. All you white guys should have been able to come walking hand in hand, no torches. Arms. You could have said your same chance that you wanted to, but if you were trying to pose a united front, do not come with arms and battle gear ready to, do damage. You're not coming to talk to me if you're coming with the gun out and, a knife in your hand and saying, what's up? So if we would have a conversation.
Here's my thing, okay? Maybe in their mind, they thought that they would be treated like us, and that's why they came out there, because they watch how we get treated when we assemble, and all of a sudden you got tanks out there and all types of stuff. And these guys came out there. The moment that you saw that there was no tanks, nobody was shooting rubber bullets at you, that's when you should have realized, oh, we're not like them at all. But their mental
It's
Or
off.
sight.
Hey,
Just
hey,
decided to see that.
we've known forever that tanks and horses and everything are coming out there, but still, when we come to protest, we still come peacefully at first.
And I hope that the listeners from the last few podcasts that came at me about community watch this, because this was an example of them having a community. So when they got out there, they were not met with tanks and all types of stuff, because if we got out there with no arms, no nothing, we'd have absolutely been met with all types of tanks and riot gear and all types of stuff. And that's what I say. We don't have a community. They have a community, and it is a safe haven for them to get out there and be able to do things like this. And until we realize that, look, if we don't start looking at things a little bit differently and aligning behind leaders and establishing safe havens of our own, we're gonna be in trouble.
We're gonna absolutely be in trouble.
45 is over there worried about fire and fury across the ocean, and me
making idle threats.
Right, making idle threats. But then you get on TV and you don't promise anything to these folks that are out here with sticks and boots and rifles on the homeland.
Yeah, my man that crashed it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's crazy. I'm sorry, Jay, you can go in a second. That you're right. His rhetoric towards anybody else, not even just Kim Jong or whatever, but when you look at how Trump would discuss the Mexican immigrants, anybody he just opposes or completely dislikes, his conversation tone, his rhetoric, the words he uses are all very, very strong. And it's amazing to me how he walked it all the way back when talking about this situation. And go to Mike's point about perception. This is another issue that I have with this situation, is because, yes, like you said, they feel like they're fighting for something that's important to them. But on a world stage, when you take a high level look at this thing, it's like, what are we talking about? So we're talking about the institutions of slavery. We're talking about the prejudices and discriminations of the world. We're talking about putting one race above all others. Why hasn't it been escalated to the point of a domestic or a terrorist situation or a United Nations situation, especially given the history behind all of the oppression that goes into these groups?
Well, you said 67 years. That's it. So you figure these are people that's grandparents are putting these thoughts in their mind. You got the people that are in leadership. There's a hesitation. The same way there was a hesitation in New Orleans, the same way there's a hesitation in Ferguson. I mean, you have to think that for years and for generations, people's current existence, their current lifeline, their livelihood, their jobs are all based off of that history. So for me just to say, all right, well, yeah, I'm a change, means I got to give up my house, I got to give up my inheritance. Like, it's a whole lot that goes into the way that you were raised just to give it up. And it's a small percentage, I'll agree. But if you look at all the things that have happened, so you just had the documentary about Rodney King, you got Detroit that's coming out, you got all these talks about Black Lives Matter.
You have OJ that's gotten parole.
Right, you got Cap. I mean, you got all of these things where African Americans, blacks, people of color are standing up saying, hey, look, this isn't right. And you're attacking that group. At some point in time, they're going to respond. And, you know, you got to be able to, like, what are you made of? Are you going to back down or you going to have that conversation? If you need to, or you going to fight?
And that's a great point, man. I was going to go there next because Carol mentioned the community aspect. We're getting resistance, and that's fine. I liken this whole situation to the Planet of the Apes series, because I feel like that's exactly what we're looking at. But when we talk about how we're going to respond to this resistance, I think it's very important that we look at how they're organized, and we have to continue to organize ourselves in that manner. We have to continue to try to build these communities and continue to try to protect ourselves, because the same way the Panthers were, and I'm not sure the actual era, help me out, for it's like the 70s, 80s, 70s.
Yeah, 70s.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at needing something very similar to that, I think, in the coming days, just to keep a tight hold on our own communities, protecting ourselves. Because although I didn't see very many images of, you know, black people in the riots and fighting, outside of the one dude who I think got hit by that Challenger or whatever with his feet in the air. I saw a lot more pictures of, you know, them fighting themselves, or white people and white people. But I feel like it's right at the doorstep. So I feel like this is a critical call to action moment where we have to look at how we're organizing ourselves and how we're setting ourselves up to be able to meet that resistance, to be able to continue to live the way we want to live.
And it was such a lost moment for 45 to be able to create that a better turning point. Like there's it can go either way, right? It could have been one of those moments where, hey, let's really call to action and really show that this is not the way it's supposed to go, regardless of any situation. The way that this, you know, your protest went down, how you arrived, everything is not the way that you're supposed to protest. You know, what you're talking about is you know, totally not what we need to be based off of here. We need to be based off equality. And for him to just skate around and dance around it, especially when he is Mr. Twitter, it's just it's just continually eye-opening. You know, it's funny, as Black people, we are never surprised. We're more just like, you know, wowed in the fact that it's being the, you know, the Band-Aid is being ripped more off. I was gonna say that too, Kay, that this black man got beat by like 3 or 4 guys with poles.
Wow.
Right.
And I think he's a student, right?
I think so. But what I want you to look at the armed person
In the back,
that
right?
is standing there in the background. That's not an officer.
Right. And that's the other thing. You can't really tell, because these dudes out
They
there,
come
right? At
looking.
first, I'm looking at like police officers. Okay, they're here to organize, keep the peace or whatever. Give them, you know, some of them rubber bullets if they get too far out of
No,
line.
those were the guys waiting for the police to come, and they wanted some extra action. Like, yeah.
Right. So, you know, we were talking about it. I'm sorry, Brett. Hopefully you still have your point. But they sealed off the park. They had guys that had the barricade shields that had sealed off the entrances to the park. So whatever was going on in the park, that was it. You couldn't come in.
And this is I don't know.
All right, guys. Yes.
The all right had barricaded in.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is an operation. This
Like,
was,
exactly. Military
Strategic
grade.
goal.
Exactly. Strategic military tactics.
this was planned out. How we gonna do it? How we gonna execute? What's gonna happen here? They practiced. I mean,
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that wasn't just a text that went out. Hey, you guys, you know what? Let's just go ahead and do it this Friday. That was organized for quite some time, and even the way that they are creating, you know, this arena of terror, it's very eye-opening.
Yeah, and all this equipment. Look, just the mere fact that we even talk about organizing, the FBI starts investigating us. Right. Like Brett, a little while ago, you said you think a group, you know, kind of like the Panthers, is going to be needed in the next upcoming days. I wouldn't be surprised if we just got flagged for that. Right. But these guys, is somebody going to run an investigation to find out where they get all this equipment from, who placed these orders, what was going on? Are these folks going to be investigated until they find out who the organizers were of this thing?
Absolutely not.
And Mike said, hey, you know, I'm not going to say it's a small amount of people, but I think it's a small amount of people that are willing to come out there and be the face of it.
See, and that's the key right there, because nowadays the sad part about it is, with, like, again, I appreciate the fact that you're out there in full face, but the fact that nobody's even scared to be on the front to show that you're in the front line leading this charge, because they know protection has me. I'm not going to be punished for anything that I'm doing, because supremacy.
Like that goes back to the community aspects. Like
Exactly.
like my man who was driving the Challenger. Like he literally drove a car into a group of protesters. Like he didn't like lose control of the car. Like he was purposely trying to hurt people, and he was charged with like 3 different things. But he got a bail hearing on Monday. Like why do you even deserve bail? Like I just feel like the system is designed. Like if I would have accidentally drove the car into a group of people, like would I have gotten the same treatment? I can't really say that I would have gotten a bail hearing on Monday.
nah, you wouldn't.
You know what I mean?
No.
You know what I mean?
And to have somebody pass away as well.
I can't say that.
Yeah, somebody died and like
I can't say that you would have made it to the precinct alive.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
My man got a bail hearing on Monday. You know what I mean? Like the very first day. Like he couldn't postpone it to like Friday, like on Monday. Like that's crazy to me. When I read that, it blew my mind.
It's a crazy situation. I'm waiting to hear the excuses that are gonna come from that whole incident and see what the alibi is gonna be. But Faison, you want to jump in?
No, I just wanted to ask a quick question. I kind of been out of the loop with non-binary thing this whole weekend, but is it getting like, I haven't heard about it on, like either I'm not reading it properly or I'm not seeing it on TV, but normally when something goes down and, you know, and we're involved in it, it's everywhere. Everyone's talking about it, but I literally haven't seen anything until like you showed me that that in our group message. I heard nothing about it. So I'm wondering, is it getting that kind of still same, you know, publicity?
It is. It is. It's not. It's getting a lot of press coverage. It's not getting a whole lot of you know, like police.
That's a good way.
Right. It's getting a lot of press coverage. Some of it for the right reasons. You know, a lot of the focus has shifted to the 45th president's comments on the situation. And as things develop, you know, they're talking. That's why I said it's gonna be interesting to see what they say about the dude who drove his car into this crowd. And if you haven't seen the video,
they're still saying that he's accused of killing a 32-year-old woman, allegedly rammed into the crowd.
Yeah, innocent until proven guilty. He got that right.
But they have video footage.
Nope, he's innocent. He hasn't been proven guilty by a jury of his peers.
And they don't know. He might have been, quote unquote, fearing for his life because people were walking up on his car, so he felt like he might be.
No, sir. You see him driving down a street where there is no one but just people walking on the sides minding their business, and you see him drive down it.
And back up and do it all up.
I feel like
mental diagnosis with him blacking out and having some type of adrenaline going, and because of the scenario and the stress, he wasn't aware of what his body did.
Oh, anybody want to know where he's from? Oh, because all these people aren't from Charlottesville.
He's from Ohio. He's from Ohio.
I don't know if he's from Cleveland.
Oh no, he's from Monmouth. Yeah.
He's from Ohio.
But here's my whole thing. Like, why are the parents always dumbfounded? Like, when they hear about their kids doing something crazy. Like, the mom was like, oh, I knew he was going to a rally, but I didn't know what rally he was going to. Maybe it's because I'm an African American, but if I knew my kid was going to a rally, I don't care how old you are, I'm going to ask, like, what rally? Like, tell me about it. You know what I mean? What are we rallying for?
Yeah, well, exactly.
I don't understand.
What is going on? What is this protest?
She said something like, I thought he was just going to a Trump rally. Trump's not a white supremacist, so why would I think, anything crazy? I was like, what the heck? I think she even dropped that line. He had an African American friend. So I was like, yo, that's what parents just be dumbfounded. Like, we should be definitely. I don't have any kids, but I definitely believe you should be more involved to the extent where your kids are going to a rally. You should know what kind of rally they're going to. I don't care how old you are.
Absolutely.
Kind of rally.
I mean, that's fair. He is 20 years older. He's a grown man. So, and then that's that blissful ignorance. Some people choose to live with on a daily basis.
Anybody know the correlation of the Dodge Challenger though, and what they're fighting for?
No.
Brett, Brett, you probably don't remember the show. Dodge Challenger was a car in the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
That was a Challenger?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the good old boys.
Yep.
While we on it though, man, so I think the dialogue is great. We definitely have a great understanding of what it is that's happening. One of the things that I think is important for us is to make sure our expectations are kind of in line with the situation. Because, like I said, when you hear the president's comments, it's not, and none of that is really surprising to me. When you look at how the situation was handled from a governmental type of level, or the police or their involvement, it's not really that surprising to me. So, and I'm not the only person that feels that way, I'm pretty sure. So going forward, man, I really think it's important that we manage those expectations and really look inward to find out what we as a community amongst ourselves are going to do to not necessarily combat it, but you get the sense that, like I said before, this is just Right, you got to be able to protect your own and not just your own family, but like us as a people. So I think it's really important that our expectations are definitely in line with what we are experiencing right now.
But I think the important part for that is to understand the law part of it. Like when you think of doing like protecting yourself, you're thinking about guns, you're thinking about multiplying people, getting everybody together, but it's the legal part that gets all messed up. So once you actually get into the system, can you navigate your way out appropriately, knowing your law, speaking to your judge, and having a lawyer that can represent you? All of that is going to be important, making sure you got everything behind you. Otherwise, we can be wherever we want to be. We can say whatever we want to do. You can have as many guns as you want, but eventually you're going to go to jail for having a gun that wasn't registered or having something that you wasn't clear on how you were supposed to do it, and they're going to get you on.
That's that, man. That's exactly what Mike. You said it right on the nose. It's the legality.
I know.
Sorry, it's the legality behind the process of everything. So you know, when the reason why so many cases are thrown out or dismissed is because they pull the legal card and they go through all the actual Article 4 or 5/2. And you know that's important. And most of us go there like, oh, I'm going to do this, but not know how to back yourself out of it if someone questions you or asks you.
With that, when you talk about protecting your community, as we go back to the word community, we're at the point where we have representation. Not to say people should be ignorant of the law. I'm not taking that off the books, no. But we have representation in almost any and every field today based on people's accomplishments. You're talking about judges, you're talking about lawyers, or everything. But until, and again, I'm not telling anybody to break the law or do anything. That's not the case here. But we have the resources to protect and provide services for anybody that we need to, if we're standing up for the right thing. Is everybody going to take that stand and come out and put themselves out there? We go back to the whole Kaepernick thing. Is somebody else going to willing to put themselves out there and stand next to that man? And in his case, no. So if something happens here in Miami, something happens in DC, something happens up in Philly, something happens in New York, whatever, who is going to come and stand by their side and support that man or support that woman and helping them navigate if they're standing up for the right thing? Now, I'm not telling anybody to go do anything wrong. That's not what BJ is saying. But until we can pull all those resources, come together, then we're always going to be, well, he got caught, he's going to jail. Well, go ahead.
That's the problem, is that we're behind because we don't have that type of cohesiveness. We don't have those systems in place already.
Correct.
We are
community.
Right. We're reactive. As soon as something happens, then all of a sudden we want to start organizing. Then that takes forever for us to get organized. We don't have the systems and the levers that we can push for when something happens. Within 24 hours, we can take action. We can do what we need to do.
To execute, exactly.
Whether it be legal,
I should have a string of lawyers, a string of doctors, a string of everything ready to back up the mission.
And that was going to be my next point, BJ. That's a great point. We definitely have the resources and capabilities, but the systems, like Carol said, I don't think are put in place in the proper manner to be utilized. Excuse me. So I think this is a perfect opportunity, man. And not to say that situations beforehand weren't perfect opportunities, but it's like, for me, it's like, how many of these types of situations is it going to take before we get, you know, that type of cohesiveness till we get those types of systems? Because honestly, I mean, we're in a system right now and it works to the degree that it's supposed to work. Like it does exactly what it's designed to do. But when we have these instances, I mean, outrage and anger, you know, I guess great motivating factors, but utilize those motivating factors to, you know, push that charge, create our own system or get involved with the system, because that's the only way you're going to inspire that type of change, man. I hate when I see people, or I know of people who see these types of things, they'll talk about it. They'll be so outraged, so upset about it. But when it comes to putting, you know, that foot to the pavement, you know, and actually doing something about it, it's like, oh, nah, this isn't really for me. And no, it's absolutely for you, because it's absolutely going to benefit you. And if you're going to talk about it, go ahead and be about it.
Yeah, but it's more than just the systems and the levers. It's the mindset. We don't have the mindset that thinks about these things, and it's only when something happens, as I said. So
we're a hot cold
I
society.
feel like
a black person running for president.
Us out there.
A black person running for president, all of a sudden we're out in droves, but then we forget that we got to vote in the midterm election.
Midterms, and
so we lose all the momentum.
Yeah, so that value, we got to add it back.
The wife just handed me a note. She said, interesting to see what they charge him with the deaths of the officer, because when you commit a crime, death. Yeah.
Heard about officers in a helicopter.
Yeah, so because that person drove the car, they committed with the crime, and as a result of all of that, this happened, you ultimately tied to all that other stuff, which is
what?
That's interesting.
So residuals?
I got a friend that was, he had come out of high school, he got picked up by his buddies, but they had killed the officer. So because when they got him, he was in the car with the other three, they all went to jail. He got the felony for killing the officer just for being in the car because the crime was committed and you were with the people that committed. So you got that association. So if you rob somebody and guy have a heart attack, hey, you're getting the murder and the robbery.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna leave that there, man. I'm gonna go ahead to Faison. Faison, I see you over there holding Namdi. He's looking well entertained. Is he gonna be good enough for us to get that Arts Corner action today?
I can't promise. I will try to make sure I talk into the mic. His little PBS show just went on pause, so I'll make it quick. So my amongst of all this crazy negativity in the world, there are some good points out there, and I love to celebrate those. This weekend, my grandparents celebrate their 64th anniversary, and it was amazing to see them still be able to like enjoy each other, see love.
He's singing Sesame Street.
See the love in their face, and everyone's celebrating them. So it was great to see that, and that's my corner. That no matter what's going on, sometimes outside, you gotta make sure you keep some positivity and love inside your home, inside your heart, and then you go out and defend as you need be. So that was my corner today, and sad news in the in Arts Corner. According to Samuel Adams, summer has officially come to an end. They are no longer selling Summerfest. We are now on to Oktoberfest, and it made me sad. So I was happy and I was sad at the same time.
I don't know.
Red Stripe Light.
I don't think
there's always Red Stripe Light.
I don't think they got the memo in Miami. Definitely got it in Maryland because the temperature dropped about 20 degrees over the last couple of weeks. It was crazy. When I got down here. I was like, dang man, I ain't dealt with this type of heat for the last 2 weeks. Like Maryland is comfortable. You got a sunny 75, 80 degrees, nice breeze. You get here and it's straight humidity 95 and the air is thick. The air is thick. But we're going to keep this thing moving right along, man. I'm coming to your way next, DJ Barry B. Fresh. What you got for us this week for the Fresh Jam?
Well, these guys don't even need an introduction, and I just thought it was appropriate with what we are dealing with currently. WELOVE 108 FM.
Hey man, Mike ready to get out there and hit these streets, man.
Mike ready, man. He said, get the gear.
Listen if you're missing, y'all.
Mike is hype right now, man.
Y'all to give us what we need. Hey, our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the power of that speech. Fight the power.
Fight the power. Radio Raheem.
I'm about to say, where is Radio Raheem when you need him?
Hold up. J-Dace. What movie?
Man.
Yeah, J-Dace. Come on.
What happened?
Come on, bro.
What movie?
I hear you.
What movie?
What movie?
Oh, man. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. I'm sorry, bro. I was just thinking I'm gonna go watch that joint today.
Oh,
Man, come on, man. Dude.
They gave you a big hint.
Right.
I had to
Oh man, to all of our J Days fans, hey, the J Hive, y'all need to get on your boy. You need to get on your boy. You came at Carol a couple weeks ago, and I just don't feel like that was fair, man.
The day.
Okay, all right. I mean, like, inform me. What movie?
Do the right thing,
so I can
man.
add it
Right
to
thing.
The thing that you should do is the right thing and watch that
do the
movie.
right thing.
Do the right thing.
They told you Radio Raheem.
Wow.
Have you seen
You even know who Radio Raheem is, dude?
He's like,
You don't
yo,
remember
it's just-
like a couple weeks ago when Fresh, I think the Boombox is coming back. I don't know if that then came and went, that wave then came and went, but Fresh had the Boombox joint up where you just plug your phone into the side of it, you walking around.
Oblivious.
Yeah, it might have definitely went over my head.
What had happened was I was thinking about Sesame Street at that
Pick
time.
up.
And you can think about like Chuck Rhymin, like it was very rarely on beat. He would just put a whole
He
bunch
was because
of
Chuck was he was making statements. He was
Right.
trying to
Right.
infuse
He was
your
writing the
brain.
baseline.
He didn't care. Rhyming, that's just a possible, maybe it'll happen. I'm
It's a
more concerned
byproduct.
about giving you a byproduct of what I'm trying to give you some knowledge. I'm breaking you wrong. Understanding how you need to live a life.
Hey, he just go on. He be like, what? And then Flav be like, yeah.
He had to
Hey,
break.
man.
He had to break. You were so. Oh my God! Oh, and you had to get that yeah boy to get back on.
Oh, God, man.
I was almost zoned out.
Hey, listen, that video was serious.
Mm-hmm. That's when W's in the back.
Yep.
Just look up that video, J Days.
Yeah.
Video for Fight the Power.
All right,
Easy.
Man.
I got you.
Hey, before I transition to you, Carol, man, I'll remind everybody that this podcast is brought to you by Fledgeology, where the mantra is Leap, Grow, Fly. You can definitely catch the podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. Leave us those 5-star ratings. Leave us those comments, man. Hit us up. Hit the email, info@fledgeology@gmail.com. I'm sorry, info@fledgeology.com. Let us know, give some topics or whatnot, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this thing to Carol because I'm losing my words.
Losing the word.
I need to get in the mirror, man. Practice my words, man. Shout out to Grandma.
Hey, what I want to talk about is there are people out there that what's going on right now isn't important to you because it doesn't affect you. And it's not just with this situation, but there are many situations that are going on that you know aren't right. They're not just, but because it doesn't affect you, you choose not to get involved. How long will you let it go before it reaches your doorstep and then it does affect you? And who will you be able to reach out to at that point? So my challenge this week is be proactive, find out how you can get involved, find out how you can help your fellow person that whatever it is affecting them now. You have the ability to get involved. You have the ability to affect change. Go out there, get involved. Don't wait till it knocks on your door.
Hey, Carol, I got a question, man. You gonna go ahead and get that? There are some people copywritten or trademarked.
I'm
There are
pretty
some.
sure.
There are some of you out there.
Yeah. Maybe.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for listening here with us today on the 13th floor where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. Dom, what you got for us?
No.